kids. Hi, Marie. Hi, Anna. Hi, Eden. Hello, Gabriel. Hello, Miss Olivia. How are you guys all doing? Nana read a story to the bigs, and now she's going to read a story to you little kids, and it's the last one in the Beatrix Potter book that I've been reading to you about all the kinds of different animals. And this one is called The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher. And Mr. Jeremy Fisher was a toad, or a frog, I guess you could say he was a frog. The water was all slippy sloppy in the larder and in the back passage. But Mr. Jeremy liked getting his feet wet. Nobody ever scolded him, and he never caught a cold. You see? He's a frog. He likes to get his feet wet. You guys like to get your feet wet too, don't you? I'll get some worms and go fishing and catch a dish of minnows for my dinner, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. If I catch more than 5 fish, I'll invite my friends, Mr. Alderman Ptolemy Tortoise and Sir Isaac Newton. The alderman, however, eats salad. So he's going to go dig up worms. Have you guys ever taken a shovel and dug up worms? So you can go fishing with your dad? Huh? Kind of fun. Mr. Jeremy put on a mackintosh, which is a raincoat, and a pair of shiny galoshes, which are boots. And he took his rod and basket, and set off with enormous hops to a place where he kept his boat. Now we have a frog who has a boat. Didn't know frogs had boats. Did you know Do you know frogs have boats, Marie? I didn't know frogs have boats. The boat was round and green and very much like the other lily leaves. It was tied to a water plant in the middle of the pond. Oh, his boat is a water lily leaf. That's kind of cool. He's not very big. He's not going to sink. Mr. Jeremy took a reed pole and pushed the boat out into the open water. I know a good place for minnows, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. Here he goes. He's pushing his boat out into the pond so he can catch some fish. Mr. Jeremy stuck his pole in the mud and fastened the boat to it. Then he settled himself cross-legged and arranged his fishing tackle. He had the dearest little red float. His rod was a tough stalk of grass, and his line was a fine, long, white horsehair. And he tied the little wiggling worm to the end. He's not very big. Doesn't take very much, does it? The rain trickled down his back, and for nearly an hour he stared at the float. Oh, this is getting boring, he said. I think I should like some lunch. He punted back again amongst the water plants and took some lunch out of his basket. I'll eat a butterfly sandwich and wait till the shower is over, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. A great big water beetle came up underneath the lily leaf and tweaked the toe of one of his galoshes. Mr. Jeremy crossed his legs up shorter, out of reach, and went on eating his sandwich. See that great big black water bug? Once or twice something moved about with a rustle and a splash amongst the rushes at the side of the pond. I trust that is not a rat, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. I think I'd better get away from here. It was a baby mouse swimming in the water. Mr. Jeremy shoved the boat out again a little way and dropped in the bait, and there was a bite almost immediately. The float gave a tremendous bob. A minnow! A minnow! I have him by the nose, cried Mr. Jeremy Fisher, jerking up his rod. A little tiny fish. But what a horrible surprise! Instead of a smooth, fat minnow, Mr. Jeremy landed little Jack Sharp, the stickleback, covered with spines. Oh, it's a big fish. He caught a great big fish. He doesn't want that great big fish. The stickleback floundered about the boat, pricking and snapping until he was quite out of breath, and then he jumped back into the water. He ate the worm, though, didn't he? And a shoal of other little fishes put their heads out and laughed at Mr. Jeremy Fisher. Oh, dear. You see all the little fishies around in here? They're all laughing at Mr. Fisher because he caught a picky fish. And while Mr. Jeremy sat sadly on the edge of his boat, sucking his sore fingers and peering down into the water, a much worse thing happened. A really frightful thing. It would have been if Mr. Jeremy had not been wearing his boots. What do you think happened? A great, big, enormous trout came up. Kerplop with a splash, and it seized Mr. Jeremy with a snap. Ow, 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 and then it turned and dived down to the bottom of the pond. Oh dear, a great big fish grabbed Mr. Fisher off his lily pad. What's he gonna do? But the trout was so displeased with the taste of his boots that in less than a half a minute, it spit him out again, and the only thing it swallowed was Mr. Fisher's boots. Guess the trout doesn't like boots. Mr. Jeremy bounced up to the surface of the water like a cork in the bubbles out of a soda water bottle, and he swam with all his might to the edge of the pond. He's swimming hard. He's gonna get away. He scrambled out onto the bank he came to, and he hopped home across the meadow with his Macintosh all in tatters. Macintosh is his raincoat. His raincoat's all beat up from being swallowed by a fish. Was not a good day for him, was it? What a mercy that was, not a pike, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. I have lost my rod and basket, but it does not matter, for I am sure I should never have dared to go fishing again. He was just happy to get away and to go home. He put some sticking plaster, which is a Band-Aid, on his fingers, and his friends both came to dinner. He couldn't offer them fish, but he had something else in his kitchen. There's a turtle and a lizard, and they're going to have lunch or dinner with Mr. Fisher. Sir Isaac Newton wore his black and gold waistcoat. He's a newt. That's why he's Sir Isaac Newton. I like you guys. You're listening good. And Mr. Alderman Tortoise brought a salad with him in a string bag. So they did have something to eat. The turtle brought a salad. I like salad. I don't know what a salad has in it that turtles make, though. And instead of a nice dish of minnows, they had roasted grasshopper with ladybird sauce, which frogs consider a beautiful treat. But I think it must have been really nasty. But they ate it, and they lived happily ever after. And that's the end. I love you guys so much, and I miss you, and I pray for you every day. Now, you be good for your mamas today and your daddies, and we'll talk soon. Bye.